Hello everyone, this is Lena Kears from Inspired Creations. I'm a Canadian independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today I'd like to show you how to make this really pretty pleated fold card. And for that you'll need quite a large piece of designer series paper because this folds really well. It's not as thick as cardstock and there's lots of folding happening here. So I'll talk about this piece in a minute. First, I'll tell you about all these other pieces that you need first. So we start with the card base of 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then we need 2 pieces of 5 1/4 by 4. One is for the inside and one is for the outside. For instead of this green piece here, I'm doing a white piece. And then I have 2 labels using the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and it's the 2nd and the 3rd dies here. And I chose these 2 colors because it's kind of the colors that are in these little flowers here. They have the saffron outside with the bumblebee inside, and I'm just doing it the opposite way because I wanted the dark underneath. Okay, so that's just a pretty standard card there. And then I have a ribbon to go with it here on that card as well. So let's put these aside now and we'll talk about this piece. So if you can see the measurements on my paper here, it's 5 by 10. Now I'm going to have to make some markings here, and the center is going to be between 4.5 and 5.5. Now I'm just going to move this away for a minute so I can see my lines. So 4.5 is right here, and because it's counting from the other side, this way it's 3.5. So it's still 4.5 by 5.5, just carrying that line through. Oh. Yeah, 4.5 there. You have to make sure you get your lines really properly marked. Okay, then we're going to turn it over, and now we're going to have, this is 5 inches wide. We're going to have from 2 inches here to 3 inches here. That's going to be just a flat part, and then it's going to be angled up to our score line right up there. Okay, so the directions are a little confusing because you're scoring from 5.5 to 3, but then on the other half, you're scoring from 5.5 to 2 because you want this center piece to stay flat. You're not coming to a point here. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just put a pencil mark at the 2 inch and at the 3 inch. And then I'll show you how to cut and score to get the fan fold. So I'll bring in my trimmer. And this is my piece of paper that tells me these are all the score lines. And then this is the diagonal from 2 and 3 inches. So scoring the opposite way. 2 goes that way, 3 goes that way. And you turn it around and you do the same thing on the other end. So make sure you have these little tick marks in your track here. And you're going to the right score line here because there's 2. So it's the closest one. Whoops, don't move. So when you close it, you still should be able to see those little tick marks right through the space here. And this time we are cutting. And then we're going to do the same thing. So now from the 3 inch mark to the closest tick mark here. And I see them both, so it's safe to cut. Okay, so this is the kind of shape we're getting. Now we're going to come down 1 inch at this mark. So from this end, it's still going to be 4.5. But I'm not really using the ruler for that. I'm just going by the tick marks. So that mark and that mark. I'm sure that's very hard to see on the video. And then I want to get this angle. So here's my mark. And there's my mark. Both looking good. Okay, so these scraps you can use for something else later. And I think that's all that we need the cutting board for. Oh, I messed up because we were supposed to score first. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, now that's going to be tricky. So I'm going to cut another piece because I need to do it the proper way. So 5 inches. You'll just get a little refresher course here. I'm just cutting off 2 inches because it needs to be 10. And I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch here to put inside the card. Just for a little decoration. And I know you can't really see what I'm doing because this cutter is a little bit longer than the sight of the video. Okay, so before we do any diagonal cutting, we are going to score. So we're scoring all these marks here, and I'll have to bring out my extension arm. And I'll try to bring it up a little higher so you can see everything. Okay, so 1 inch. So if you want to have all these score marks, you can just stop the video and you can write them down, and they'll also be posted in the bottom underneath where it says show more underneath the video. So the next line is 1.5. I'm going to move that cutting one right out of the way because I've been known to mess that up. I've already messed up enough today. 2.5 and 3 and 4, 4.5. Then we're down here 5.5. So this is actually the center between 4.5 and 5.5. Then we go to 6. Then we go to 7. So if you have a trimmer that doesn't have the long extension, you could just turn it around and do the same measurements that you just did just do the top line on both ends. That'll work too. Okay, so we're at 7.5 and 8.5 and 9. And then you have an inch left over, like you started at the 1 inch mark at the other end. Okay. Alrighty. So now I'm just going to fold all these lines. I'm not going to worry about which direction, if they have to be mountain or valley folds. I'm just folding them all the same way first, so that they'll show up much more clearly. So the back of this paper is quite a bit different than the front, which is nice, because then it will show a bit of a contrast when we're doing the fan folding. Okay, so now we need to cut our diagonal here. And I have to do the markings again. So 2 inch, 3 inch, oops, need to see it, 2 inch and 3 inch, and it's probably easier just to do it on here. So 4.5 and 5.5, which is on the score lines. So just follow the score line to the other end. And it's right there. Can I see them all? Okay. So now I'll just cut that little diagonal again. Just make really sure you're at the closest dot, not the farther away one, because it won't be the proper angle if you do that. Okay, this is the one we need here. This is the one we need here. We'll do this one first. That one, do that one right there. And this is the last one. And I see it right in that little black petal. Okay. So now this is going to be our center, this part right here, and that's going to be on the inside. So just bring this card here. So you see the inside here, the yellow piece, that's what we want to get. So we're going to fold that in and out, and in and out, and in and out, like that. And because they're already pre-folded, that folding goes really easily. So again, in and out, and in and out, and in and out. And that's why you have, some of them are 1 inch scores and some of them are only a space of a 1/2 inch, and that's because the inside is only 1/2 inch, and then the part that you see, that's actually 1 inch wide. So now you've got a little bit of contrast here from the other side of the paper, which looks very pretty. And we have to keep all these folds together somehow. So I'm going to take some tear and tape or whatever kind of strip tape you have, and just put this all the way across. Don't go beyond where it can be seen though. And these, because there are so many folds, it's quite a stubborn, I've glued this one down I don't know how many times because I didn't put enough adhesive strips on. So I'm going to add a little bit more here. Oh, this is almost done here. Yep. Okay, and then also on the other side, I am going to use glue dots. So I'll show you the difference. This one, I put glue dots, just one under each pleat. This one, I didn't. So if you like it that it kind of pops up, then don't put the glue dots on. But if you like it that it's staying down where it's supposed to be, then add a glue dot. Because this one will, like I've glued this down about 3 times. So now I've got glue dots under here and it's staying put. Also this one, it extended past the edge because this brown edge here is a little wider than the white edge here. And even so, I trimmed just a tiny bit off there. So after I get all the glue dots in, I'll just check that before I adhere that white layer down. So I just like to use my paper piercer here to pick off these. And nobody's going to see these glue dots, but they'll just make it stay put a little bit better. I put the little ribbon on my glue dot roll because then it can't just unroll itself. And when it gets too loose, because I've used a lot of glue dots, I just retie it a bit snugger. So there, now it's laying pretty flat. And I do want it to pop up a little bit so that you see, you know, the pleats. So I think that's good like that. Now if I put this on here, oh, pretty close. I think I'm going to adhere it to this first, and then I can just trim off if there's just like a millimeter or something exposed. But I do see some little dots here too. Now, if you use designer paper that has an up and down on it, I guess you should pay attention to that for how you mount it on there. But otherwise, it probably doesn't matter. I love this piercing tool. I use it an awful lot, and I think now the piercing tool is sold as part of the Pick tool. But I still have this one, so I'll just keep using it. There it goes. It doesn't quite go to the top and bottom, which is just fine. Then on the back, you can see if there's a little piece extending, you can just trim it off. There we go. Okay, so now we'll just fold the card and get that a little burnish. And can't really tell that there's much difference either way. So what I did for choosing my card color, I just picked the colors out of here, out of my designer paper. And that's what I did with the label too. I just picked out these same yellows. So I'm going to stamp this, and I think I'll just stamp another happy birthday with black ink because there is black in this paper as well. I'm putting it a little bit higher into the label so that I can tie my bow. Get rid of the ink. Don't mess that up. And I like to leave my ribbon on my roll and just do bunny ears and put the loop through the loop. If that makes any sense. And then I just even it out. This way you don't waste any ribbon, except maybe a tiny little piece on this one end. There we go. So on this card, the ribbon was a little bit wider, and I just did a knot. This one, I didn't use any ribbon because I had a bit of a fancier. This was from the Ornate Garden dies. So I need another glue dot here. And I'm going to put the dimensionals in between the two layers. So I think I'll just glue this one in place first. And I'm still putting a little extra glue on there because of all the pleats. And dimensionals. So this is, while I'm putting the card together, you can see all my information here. My Facebook page and my store, the HTTP, Lena Kears is my store. And then here's the host code for, I was going to say January because there's a J there, for March. And if you spend $50 on your order, then you will also get the tutorial for the month, which is based on the Dragonfly bundle. So there we go. So you would get the link to that tutorial so that you can make those cards. Okay, so there we have some beautiful cards made with the fan fold technique. I hope you like it. And if you do, give me a thumbs up or click like or whatever, and you can subscribe if you like. And if you want to see all the sizes of the paper, then click on the show more on the bottom of the video, and I'll have the sizes available for you there. Okay? Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.